I'm Jay Kuper with Kuper Sotheby's International Realty, and I'm proud to present three of our finest producers at our firm, representing some of the best of Texas real estate. And they're going to be here today just to share some of their wisdom about the markets they serve and be a great resource for you. So first, I'm going to start with Robert Dolnig. Robert Dolnig is in really all of Texas and the #1 real estate agent according to the San Antonio Business Journal for farm and ranch sales across the state. And he'll be giving us some great insight about that farm and ranch market and how to buy and sell real estate when you've got big property to consider. Kumara Wilcoxon is a #1 agent in Austin for all of Austin residential real estate, specializes in not only the core of Austin, waterfront property, but also condo sales, and has set records on all three of those areas. And last but not least is Benkan Sinaroglu, #1 agent according to the San Antonio Business Journal for residential sales, even though Benkan also sells anything and everything that has to do with the core of San Antonio, but also the periphery. So we are lucky to have them here today to talk about their experience over the last year in real estate, but also what's coming up maybe for 2022. So at Kuper Sotheby's International Realty, one of our staples is working and guiding buyers through the purchasing process of real estate. That's not always straightforward. It's not something that most people do very often in their life, but we take a lot of pride and joy in working with our clients to give them a great experience, help them find the property that they want, and negotiate a great transaction. So I'm going to start with Benkan and talk about San Antonio market and the buyers and the best way to kind of, when you are a buyer and you're coming into San Antonio, what should you think about? What should you do to really kind of be competitive and find the property that you want to find?
Very, very important. These are big decisions that everybody's making, big investments. It's very important to find the right person that's going to help you navigate through all of it. And there's just a lot of moving parts. I see a lot of my peers kind of just trying to get a list of, hey, what do you like? What do you want in a home? Send me a list of homes. They'll set up a basic search for them, and they'll just hope that a home, whenever you want to see homes, let me know. They'll hope the home comes up and they go show it to them and they can put a deal together. In this competitive market and in this climate, that's just, it's really a setup for failure. I believe as a professional, one thing that I like to do is really get to know my client, understand what it is that they like to do every day, what kind of lifestyle they like to live. I was born and raised here, so I know everything about this city. Yep. I know all the different areas. Every different area will provide for something different for a different buyer. So once I get to know them, I can really try to fit where I think their lifestyle would be best. I also think it's important to show them all the areas so that they can understand and educate them as much on the market as possible. On the flip side, as a professional, I think that having knowledge about the market and really studying your market and what things are doing and what properties are selling for and why they're selling is very important. Not just knowing what your buyer wants, but also knowing your market. So you take those two things and you combine them, and then you really have an attitude of, if it was me, where would I want to live if I had that kind of family, if I had that kind of lifestyle? Growing up here, then you can really find something great for them if you really care and want to do the best thing for them. Yep. So I think that that's key to just on a more personal level, try to get to know them, because then you'll know what's going to be best for them, and then you can show them those options and really try to make a good decision. Then on offering and on finding the property and on negotiating it, that's where I love that part. I think getting a good deal for my client is something that just really excites me. I hope to be the one on the call when he goes to sell that property, so I have to get them a good deal so that when I go to sell it, they make money.
That's right.
But knowing how to negotiate a property and really getting aggressive for them as if you're buying it yourself, I think is really key. And clients will see that you care when you really put yourself in a position like that.
Yeah, it's 100% accurate. And I think what's sometimes missed when buyers are looking at real estate is really the importance of the negotiation and how that goes. We're used to buying things at sticker price on Amazon or in the grocery store. Buying and selling real estate is really the polar opposite of that. There's suggested price, there's needing to know really what the true value of these assets are.
One of the biggest changes in this year is, sometimes there's an advertised price. 3 years ago, I was like, look, this is what they're asking for, but we're not gonna pay that. Sometimes you pay a little bit more in this market, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're overpaying, right? But this market is much more competitive. So even when you're paying for a property that's worth the money, making them understand, hey, this property is worth this amount because of these reasons. Yep. And sometimes if they don't pay the right price for that property, they go and they find a worse property, maybe they'll get a little bit of money off, but it's not the right property, and that property won't be as much as this other one would be in a few years.
That's right.
It's important to know when to get competitive.
Yeah, knowing to get competitive and knowing the product, which is not easy to do. Again, online, great amount of resource, won't always tell you the value of a particular property. And I think your point too about knowing the market, San Antonio I think is an unknown gem in a lot of ways because there's a property or a neighborhood for almost everyone here. We have historic property neighborhoods like Monte Vista. You've got gated communities like Dominion and Cordillera. You've got the urban core. You know, we're in a beautiful setting right now in the arts residences. This is a condo project downtown. This is not easy to know unless you've got a great guide to help you
They
with
all
that.
vary so much.
They vary so much.
You've got to make sure you understand what your client wants.
That's exactly right. Okay, thank you, Venkat. Okay, Kumara, tell us about Austin is now so hyper competitive. Buyers, I feel like, are now jet setting in to buy properties sometimes. You're competing with locals that still love their community and they're, active buyers too. Tell us about being a buyer in Austin today and what it takes to be competitive and how you find the property of your dreams.
Like Jay said, Austin has become extremely competitive. A lot of what Ben said, it's such a wild time to be in real estate, but it really takes working with an expert, which is exactly what the three of us are. Like when I have a farm and ranch buyer, I refer them to Robert. When I have a buyer for San Antonio, I refer them to BenCon. So you have to have the agent that has the network, the experience. I mean, it's really all mainly about experience. We all have a lot of years of experience and knowing the market, and you can't just really step into the market and know the inventory and know the market. And it's all it's our expertise, it's our knowledge, it's our negotiating skills, which is also one of my favorite parts of the deal. But yeah, in this competitive market, you think it seems easy because it's your price and I'll pay it, but it's a lot of massaging. And even if a buyer is paying more than the sales price or over market value per se, it's really just understanding what the trend is and where the comps are. And most of these comps are off market, and it's educating. It's like, you know what? Yes, you may be paying more than historical prices have presented themselves, but there's a reason why. And at the end of the day, this is a special property, and there's not going to be more of this type of property. And so I think we're all in the boat to we are the experts. We are here to educate buyers on the market, and Austin's, our prices are unprecedented, and we've never seen this kind of strength in our market. But at the same time, we're now a major market, and we're still lower than cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York. I mean, we're getting up there, but and people are kind of shocked because they think they're going to roll into town and pay significantly less, and it still is less. But the bottom line is we're a major market. We're a desirable city like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and our prices, there's a demand for it because there's very little inventory. So it just takes working with an agent that understands the market, understands the prices, understands the comps, and then also can negotiate the right deal for you, whatever that deal is, and really be in tune with your needs and understand kind of where to put you, what neighborhoods, because these people are coming into the market and trying to understand what they're going to buy, where they're going to live, what area of town is best for them. And it's navigating through all of that, which really is all about experience, right? And kind of our knowledge and expertise on the market. But Austin it's been an exciting year and a half, and just the change and the growth and the demand and just some of the luxury properties that are available. It's been exciting.
If somebody comes into Austin today and they've got, call it a decent budget to buy in Austin, doesn't necessarily matter what that budget is, but we'll call it $1 million. How hard do you think it is to find a property to buy in Austin with a budget like that? How long should they expect for it to take for them to find something they might want to buy?
Well, with a budget like $1 million, you need to be very quick to decide because there are so many. There's such little bit inventory that properties around $1 million are moving quickly, and so it really is even more important to work with someone that gets the inventory and that can be there to pull the trigger when you need to. I mean, it's a great budget, and there are a lot of options in that price point.
Right.
But you just have to move more quickly, and we can still find off-market deals even in that price point, but it's not just presenting themselves like, oh, here we go, here's 20 properties to go look at if your budget's $1 million. I mean, it's fine pickings, and you have to be ready to strike quickly when a property presents itself that's right for you.
That's right. And I think that a theme with all our markets now is that cash buyers have become the king, almost without exception. There's still plenty of finance deals. Getting a mortgage is still very much a thing, but how your offers are presented to a seller to make them strong is very important, especially when you're financing a transaction. But I think you're exactly right. The inventory is low. You don't have infinite numbers of options. It doesn't matter what your budget is. So you've got to be decisive, and you've got to have good guidance there. So that's perfect. So thank you for that, Kamara. All right, so into Farm and Ranch for Robert. One of my favorite kind of experiences with Robert over the years is how much he drives clients onto properties looking at them. So in a typical residential situation, you might pick a neighborhood or two, do some driving. That might take you half a day. Robert, I know you're well known for driving all day, multiple days in a row with the pickup truck or any other vehicle with buyers looking at property. So tell us what it's like trying to buy a ranch in Texas, regardless of the size.
It's a totally different animal. We've heard Ben Ken and Kamara talk about residential in Austin and San Antonio, and they've stressed the importance of representation and how it's important to find someone that is knowledgeable, has experience. It's extra important, I can't stress it enough, in the ranch market because it's so widespread. I mean, every county has different issues, whether it's water, minerals. You encounter so many different things. One, there's no MLS. So I mean, if you want to find comps, you don't have access to that, and that's very difficult. So again, that's where experience, knowledge really come into play. And you know, having 23 years of it is a big help. We know the areas, we know the hurdles in certain counties. We know we're better, whether it's a better hunting area than in one county or there's anthrax in a certain area. There's so many issues. We encourage residential realtors to refer their ranch buyers to us so they, so we know how to handle those hurdles when they present themselves. Because again, there's just, it's a wild west in a way. I mean, there's just, again, there's no MLS. I remember guys writing contracts when I first got in the business on paper, napkins. I mean, it's just a totally different type of market than the residential for sure. So
I think that's perfect. I think one thing that's unique about farm and ranch sales that's different than even some of our residential sales is how the transactions come together. For example, in a farm and ranch transaction, it's very common to have attorneys involved to put together contracts, whereas our residential forms are typically fairly standard. Can you talk about that at all and what it takes to kind of put a transaction together, the dynamics of the buyer?
for sure, I tell all of our clients, buyers, sellers, I even tell our agents, always recommend an attorney on these ranch deals. Again, there's so much more than just the property. You're dealing with minerals, water rights, fence encroachments, easements. So we always stress that. We know our limitations. We're brokers. We've heard about quiet deals. How many quiet off-market deals that Ben Ken's done, Kamara. It's the same way in the ranch world. We have knowledge of the marketplace. So when you do hire someone, you look for experience, and that knowledge of the marketplace is extra important during these times because, not everything's out there, and you got to know where stuff is, know who you could call. A rancher down the road that might be ready to sell, you need to know where those places are, what is on those places in the ranch world.
I agree. I refer my ranch deals to Robert.
That's right.
Thank you. Yeah, we've done, over the last 3 years, I've done several things with both Kamara and Ben Ken, and they've all worked out great. I wish I could refer more to them. I think I have a little bit, I've tried. But know your boundaries. I know that I cannot compete with these two in any way when it comes to residential. So send those people to the best at what they do. And these two have done such a great job. Their numbers are mind-boggling to me, how they do it every year like they've been doing. So again, know your boundaries. When as a realtor, and then as a buyer, select someone that truly knows what they do every day, and pick someone that does it with a purpose every day. That is fully invested on your behalf, which the three of us are. We take great pride in the clients that we've shared. We've taken great pride in how we've been able to find them places on the market or whether they're off the market.
Well, I think a common theme for sure with everything that's been said today is the old cliche, but it's not what you know, it is who you know in real estate that really can make the biggest difference on the outcome. And we've been fortunate with these three to talk about working with buyers, so thank you guys for that. So as we wrap up today, I just really want to thank Robert, Kamara, and BenCon for giving us all their time. Hopefully we've been able to make buying real estate or selling real estate in Texas less intimidating or more open and welcoming to do. We would be honored to work with you if your real estate transactions bring you this way. So with that, thank you very much for giving us your time today.